Hi there. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why you should not be afraid of an HSA, a health savings account. I am going to show you a very specific example, and I believe it will help relieve some of your concerns. If not, it may raise some questions, and I'm glad to sort of take questions on. Okay, so I have a client, and for privacy's sakes, I'm going to say that client's name is Jane Doe, who's not a real person, and none of the information here is real, right? However, I did pull up some real policies, so I think it's helpful. Jane Doe is an individual, owns her own business, and she makes a certain income. So we're going to say $60,000 a year. And because she exists as an independent contractor, she has decided that the best place for her to get uh, health insurance is the marketplace. So she goes to the U.S. marketplace. For those who know it better as ACA, the Affordable Care Act. But she is going to buy a policy and has been buying a policy for a gold policy, which is a good policy. It covers about 80% of her costs, as all gold policies do. And she's currently paying roughly about $1,200 a month for that policy, right? And what's really great about a gold policy, she does get a subsidy because she only makes $60,000 a year. And so she pays a net premium. She doesn't pay the 1198. She pays 916.37. And she has a very small deductible, relatively so for the marketplace, which is $1,500. So her max out of pocket is 7,800. That means even if she gets, even if she has to pay money, the most she's ever going to pay is $7,800, right? And so that's what her max out of pocket is for this gold plan. So when you look at it on a yearly basis, you can see, oh, well, she's spending a pretty decent amount of money on her premiums, which are almost 11,000. She's paying co-payments, and she's also using some of her deductible. She's not using all of it in a pretty healthy year, but she is using some of it, right? And so, what we're going to look at, so her total health expense for the year is 12,746.44, which is, which is not a small number, but it has absolutely no impact on her income for the year because of the way she's spending it, right? And so, she's still got income of 60,000. She's still paying her estimated tax rate of 22% on that 60,000. And so she's going to pay about 13,200. So, she has an estimated cash flow of after she's paid all of this money out of her 60,000 and then she's paid her taxes, she's going to be down around $34,000, right? So, and this is a good health year. We'll keep it to a good health year for now, and we'll kind of explain differences with good health year and bad health year in future videos. But this plan is not ACA supported, right? So you cannot go on an ACA with this gold plan. What I've seen mostly is most of the HSA plans are silver and expanded bronze. And I'm going to argue that even though this is a great plan, it's got one of the smallest deductibles. Platinum would obviously be even smaller. It is costly, but she gets no tax benefit, and her estimated cash flow is worse because of that fact. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But if we go and look at a silver plan and an expanded bronze plan, both which are HCH compatible, you will see that there isn't really any additional risk that we're taking in either one of those. I think we'll stick with the silver, and talk a little bit about what the comparables are there. So the monthly premium on the silver is $890.79. So already off the bat, we can see that we have a smaller premium, right? And we still get our subsidy that's given guaranteed to us by the marketplace. And so our net premium is over $300 cheaper per month, which, over 12 months is about 3,600. But immediately you can see, oh, my deductible is much higher. It's $4,000 higher on my deductible, right? And that's the scary part for people, that they are going to have this deductible, and the max out of pocket is, in this case, is 5,500. So, that's the most that's going to be that I'm ever going to have to pay. And so, but now you're saying, oh, well, what's happened here is, yeah, I'm paying 3,600 less in print in my premium, but I am taking on another $4,000 in risk that I may have to pay out of pocket, right? And that can be concerning. But let's look at it. We're going to look at the comparable situation, and we'll go to a bad health year because I know a lot of people are going to be really worried about that. But right now, we're in this example, we'll talk only about a good health year. So in this situation, the net premium is $7,305.48. Again, the estimated co-payments are going to be the same. And we're going to say that they only used $1,000 of the deductible. And so what you're going to do is whatever you would have paid above, right? What you would have paid for the gold plan, you're going to put that difference into a health savings account, right? So if the facts are that the bad things do happen, you're covered, right? You have the same amount of coverage. In this case, it's what do you have? 5,190. You're only about taking a risk of about $300. But we're going to assume, that we have a good health year. And of the stuff we put away, we had some. All right. So first of all, we're going to contribute 36.96 to our health plan, right? To our HSA. Immediately, of the $60,000, 36.96 became is tax deferred. So my taxable income immediately is no longer 36.90. It is now roughly what is this? 56,310. So I'm going to get tax savings on that 36.90. And by the way, I was able to find between these co-payments and the deductibles, roughly 1,940 $1,940 dollars and 96 cents of expenses. I'm going to pay those bills with that. I'm going to repay myself, and I am then going to I'm going to leave $1,750 in my HSA, which will be rolled into next year. So suddenly, when I look at this scenario in a good health year, I already saved just on my healthcare expenses. I saved roughly $1,800 um, in my healthcare expenses, and so that money goes to me. In addition to that, I did not pay taxes on $3,691. So I'm going to get a 22% tax savings. So when I take into account all of those factors, right, at the end of the year, I'm going to have more money in my pocket, right? Because my taxes were reduced and my premium cost was reduced, right? My cost to have an insurance policy is reduced. My coverage really hasn't changed much. I'm still probably on the same company, on the same plan. I probably have the same doctors and pharmaceuticals. All I did was I funded my deductible with my HSA, right? And so, from that perspective, I'm going to end up with more cash. And here's the benefit. At the end of the year, I have an asset for $1,750, an asset I didn't have at the beginning of the year that rolls forward and could grow with interest from a lot of different perspectives. I can invest it in the market in in some portfolio. I can get interest on it. So that number is going to grow. And you know that if you have an IRA, you know that if you keep putting money away, it grows pretty substantially. And in recent years, growth has been very good. So just keep that in mind. And we'll do a separate video on the growth of an HSA account and how significant that can be. I mean, if I were, and certainly if you're younger in your 20s or your 30s, that growth is going to be great because you're going to be really healthy, and you're going to be putting money away, and it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to grow, at a very fast clip. You know, it's not unheard of for people to have, quite frankly, who've been investing in HSA, have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting there in HSA waiting for them to reach retirement, and to increase their opportunities to handle being on a fixed income later in life, and or getting better health care that they wouldn't necessarily been able to afford, had they not done this, right? So we'll chat a little bit more about, ways to improve your health care based on a health savings account that in separate videos. But I wanted to show you that example. And obviously you can look at the bronze one and see that in the bronze scenario, because the premium is so much less, at $469.50 after you've gotten your subsidy, and that, there's a little bit higher of a deductible, same kind of conversation, but much, much larger rollover. And again, the money in your pocket has gone up again, by even being a little bit more, putting a little bit more in the HSA and leveraging the HSA for growth, right? So again, highly recommend these. If you have any questions, definitely drop me a comment. I'm always glad to take a question. Please like the video, follow me if you can, and there will be more coming on this topic.